Holding a press conference on China's customs work and its role in advancing Chinese modernization. The press conference is part of a series of government updates where officials are invited to brief the media on their outlook for this year. Now let's cross live to the press conference in Beijing.
Welcome to the press conference of the State Council Information Office. Today we are having the 11th press conference on Embarking on the New Journey, a Government Perspective. We have invited Minister Jianhua of the GACC to brief you on safeguarding borders and promoting development, China customs contributing to Chinese modernization, and take your questions. We're also joined today by Vice Minister Sun Yuning of the GACC and Director General Zhao Zhenlian of the GACC General Office. I now give the floor to Minister Yu.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, friends from the media, good morning. My colleagues and I are delighted to meet here with you for exchanges. First of all, on behalf of the GACC, I would like to express my gratitude to our media friends for their long-standing interest, reports, and supervision of the law enforcement of our work. We are a national agency for import and export supervision and management. We are embarking on a new journey. We learned about the spirit of the two establishments. Under the strong leadership of the CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, we fully and faithfully implemented the new development philosophy and strive to build a new development paradigm, pursue high-quality development, maintain stability, and pursue development. We enhance our efforts on three fronts: serve our duty and missions of guarding the borders and promoting development. Safeguarding borders is the fundamental duty of China's customs. It is also a part responsibility to implement the holistic approach to national security. We carry out different technical means, high-tech means, to improve the efficiency of port regulation and taxation to ensure the safe and orderly import and export of goods. Last year, 2.3 trillion yuan of customs tax revenue, an increase of 13.6% year-on-year. We held the first line of defense against inbound COVID cases, detecting 55,000 positive cases among inbound personnel, accounting for 67% of the total positive cases at ports in 3 years. In this way, we have made our contribution to a major decisive victory in the combat against COVID-19. We have taken strict inspection and quarantine measures to prevent the introduction of major epidemics of plants and animals and the invasion of foreign species. We had a total of 580,000 detections of pests. We have cracked down on smuggling, investigated and handled more than 45,000 cases of smuggling crimes that covers 120 billion RMB. We have maintained the security across the borders. We carried out a 100-day operation of hazardous goods backlog at ports. We cleaned up the backlog of hazards due to COVID-19 with a total of more than 2,400 batches. We deal with false concealment of more than 1,600 batches. And in this way, we ensure port security. We stand for the people, and development is our duty. We take multiple measures to stabilize and improve foreign trade. We continue to optimize the business environment at ports. Cross-border trade has become more convenient, and the import and export clearance time have been significantly shortened. While foreign trade data and various trade indexes were released regularly to serve microeconomic decision-making and foreign trade enterprises, we are front-runners in high-level opening up, promoting customs regulation system innovation in the Hainan Free Trade Port, Pilot Free Trade Zone, Guangdong Macao In-depth Cooperation Zone, and Comprehensive Boarding Zone. We serve the high-quality Belt and Road Cooperation, and we play an active role in include the concept of smart customs, smart borders, and smart connectivity into the World Customs Organization strategic planning. 80 customs cooperation agreements were signed between China and other countries. We support the construction of international logistic corridors. We introduced 23 measures to boost the steady growth of foreign trade. We brought policies to the enterprises to solve their problems. We faithfully implemented the policies of tax cuts and tax breaks. Last year's tax cuts and tax refunds totaled 185 billion RMB. We are in the first year of fully implementing the guiding principles set forth by the 20th National Congress of the CPC. Our work can be concluded into 1+1+6. The first one stands for learning, mastering, and implementing the guiding principles of the 20th CPC National Congress fully and faithfully. The second, first is to build a smart customs as a grip to comprehensively promote the building of a modern customs of socialism with Chinese characteristics. We will serve high-quality, high-level modernization. The sixth is to focus on building a full chain of security regulation system to hold the first line of defense against the pandemic, to implement a package of measures to stabilize and improve the quality of foreign trade, to serve high-quality Belt and Road cooperation, to build a high-level opening up platform, and to exercise full and rigorous party self-governance. We will remember that it's imperative for all of us to maintain the three important requirements. We will forge loyalty, and we will continue to strive for progress in accordance with requirements, and paint the brushstroke of the customs in the grand blueprint, and turn the major plans of the 20th Party Congress into concrete actions. We'll take a result-oriented approach and make our contribution to Chinese modernization. We'd like to take your questions. Thank you. Thank you. Please report your affiliation before raising the questions. We CCTV. We know China is the largest trader in goods. So what is the biggest challenge of regulation? What measures will we take? Thank you.
I'll take your question. Thank you for asking this question. It is often said that the customs is the gate to a country. The wider China opens up to the world, the greater responsibility for customs as the gate to our country. In 2022, China's foreign trade exceeded 42 trillion yuan. This is unprecedented for a country in the history of trade. Likewise, the pressure on customs is greater than ever. Last year, China Customs oversaw 4.8 billion tons of trade in goods, 13 million vehicles including trucks, trains, ships, and airplanes, and 320 million pieces of express mail. To put things in perspective, if these goods were loaded onto a train, the train would be nearly 30 times the length of the equator. And if the containers we oversaw last year were all linked up, the length could be from the Earth to the moon and back. This is what it means to be the world's largest trading country. It is China's contribution to the world and also the duty and challenge of the GACC. Well, the enormous size is just one aspect. If we look at our customers, 1.85 million trading firms have been registered with China Customs, 3 times that of 10 years ago. More firms from more diverse fields are now engaging in trade. In terms of trade types, There are not only traditional general trade and processing trade, but also emerging cross-border e-commerce, market procurement, and other new forms of business. If we look at things we're overseeing these days, we need to prevent epidemics such as COVID-19 and African swine fever, and intercept alien species such as red fire ants and desert locusts. We not only inspect iron ore and hazardous chemicals, but also ensure the safety of imported and exported food. We need to fight foreign garbage and drug smuggling, and also identify the problematic maps and propaganda materials in the parcels. We go after smuggling of ivory and cultural relics and intercept the rats and cockroaches hiding in the containers. In 2022, China Customs detected 55,000 COVID-19 positive cases among the people entering China, intercepted 580,000 pests, oversaw 590 million tons of hazards in import and export, returned or destroyed 2,900 batches of problematic food and cosmetics, seized 1.2 million contraband items and 2.8 tons of narcotics. If any of these goes wrong at customs, there will be serious consequences. You asked about our main challenges. Well, with large scale of trade, diverse trade forms, high regulatory requirements, and heavy pressure on safety and security, how to ensure secure, open, and rapid access is the primary challenge facing customs. Well, challenges are nothing to be afraid of. It could help spur customs reform and innovation. We will uphold the party's leadership over customs and modernize socialist customs with Chinese characteristics. We will use reform and technology as the two wheels to promote smart customs, advance modernized customs reform, and build a world-class customs that leads international customs control and serves China's high-quality development. We will make customs clearance and management more digitalized, automated, and smart to raise effectiveness. We will strengthen the three lines of defense outside, at, and within the border, build a responsive customs operation mechanism, and create an all-round and whole-process regulation system. In the meantime, we are sober-minded that anti-corruption is a common task for customs all over the world. Therefore, we will not let up for a moment in our fight against corruption, root out the corrupt officials within the system, always stay in the vanguard, forge a loyal, clean, and responsible team of able officials, fully modernize customs systems and governance capacity, and write a good chapter of customs modernization. Next question, please. When it comes to foreign trade, the business entities are the key. We noticed that last year, GACC introduced many supportive measures for the companies. How have they worked out? Are there any new steps this year?
Thank you for your question. Everyone is concerned about foreign trade, which is directly affected by the COVID-19. China Customs deal with foreign trade companies every day. We share their feelings toward difficulties. We resolutely responded to the call of the Party Central Committee to help enterprises bail out. Last year, we introduced 23 assistance measures, and local customs refined these measures into 1,300 specific measures. based on local conditions. These measures have achieved desired effects and are welcome by the entities. In terms of ensuring smooth flow, compared with some major trading countries, the import and export of goods in China has not been hindered by the pandemic on the whole, and customs clearance is faster and more convenient. In December 2022, the overall customs clearance time for imports and exports across the country was reduced by 67% and 92% respectively compared with 2017. In terms of cost reduction, enterprises are supported to enjoy various preferential tax policies. Last year, tax cuts and tax refunds for foreign trade enterprises amounted to more than 280 billion yuan. In terms of excellent services, we brought the policies to companies ourselves, innovated regulation models such as first release and then inspected. For bulk commodities, we transferred 87 commodity codes out of the catalog of legal inspections for continuous optimization of ports business environment. Now we are evaluating the implementation of the 23 assistance measures. We will keep these policies, if we may, to keep the continuity of the policy. Based on this, we carried out surveys and research, work on the new support measures for the pain points, difficulties, and blocking points reporting by the enterprises. We will take several sectors into consideration. First is to smooth import and export logistics. We will promote the building of smart customs, the construction of smart ports and smart borders. Use science and technological means to promote more convenient cross-border logistics. The second is to optimize the port business environment. We will promote the construction of the single window for international trade and provide enterprises with one-stop customs clearance services. Third is to reduce business costs. We will help enterprises make good use of the preferential tariffs, RCEP, and other free trade agreements to reduce their cost. The fourth is to support the development of new forms of industries. We will innovate the cross-border e-commerce customs regulation model to achieve precise regulation and fast customs clearance. We will support the development of new forms such as market procurement, trade, and bond and maintenance. Looking forward, we'll carry out in-depth investigation and research and continue to bring our policies to the enterprises. We'll walk out of the office and walk into the enterprises. Airport and ports will face the needs of enterprises. We'll bear in mind their needs. We will tackle difficulties and solve new problems and go all out to promote stability in scale and improvement in the structure. Thank you. Next question. We know cross-border e-commerce is closely related to people's lives and has developed rapidly in recent years. How can the customs not only ensure safety but also ensure fast customs clearance? Thank you for your question. Yes, indeed, it draws great concerns and attention. It witnessed rapid development. Last year, it exceeded 2.11 trillion yuan. For more details, we would like to invite Mr. Sun to answer your questions. Thank you for your questions. The cross-border e-commerce has grown from scratch to excellence. It has become a new driving force for the development of our country's foreign trade and a new starting point of high-quality development. In the 10 years of new era, we entered a period of rapid development in terms of cross-border e-commerce. It grew from 1 trillion RMB in imports and exports in 2018 to 2.11 trillion yuan in 2022. It is not only about the numbers, but also about qualitative improvement. In recent years, more and more China-made products have entered the international consumer market. To date, China has 165 cross-border e-commerce comprehensive pilot zones, covering a wide range of platforms, and it has covered 31 provinces, autonomous regions, and municipalities. As an emerging form of international trade, the cross-border e-commerce has shown vigorous vitality and has had a profound impact on global trade. Different from the traditional foreign trade methods, while we explore the development of e-commerce, because it is different from traditional foreign trade methods. It is fragmented, large in numbers, and digitalized. The data shows that the number of cross-border e-commerce import lists is about 56 times that of the goods for customs declaration in the same period, while the average value of a single e-commerce import list is less than 3/10,000 of the goods for customs declaration. At the same time, we have also found some gun explosives, drugs, some psychotropic substances, intellectual property infringement products, exotic pets. During our regulations, all of this pose challenges to customs regulation and new demands. While taking into consideration of the features of cross-border e-commerce, we have introduced a customs clearance management system different from the traditional one. But through classified management, we have a detailed plan, which is B2C. We also carry out B2B and B2B2C. These models, we have a more diversified regulation model. We continue to strengthen technological empowerment. We have a unified version of cross-border e-commerce import and export system to integrate the transaction payment, logistics, and other related data into a whole system. We also promote the paperless filing of the cross-border e-commerce export overseas warehouse and realize the one-for-all approach. As of the end of February this year, there are more than 1,713 cross-border e-commerce overseas warehouse enterprises registered with the customs. Looking forward, we will continue to adhere to the concept of innovation, inclusiveness, prudence, and coordination, achieve standardization and development at the same time. We will focus on two layers of missions. On the one hand, it is necessary to work hard on strong regulations. We will use intelligent verification methods to verify the authenticity of customs clearance documents to prevent cross-border e-commerce smuggling. Second, we will strengthen collaboration with cross-border e-commerce platform companies to carry out co-governance to reduce risks and customs regulation risks. Third, we will promote the wide application of commodity barcodes, strengthen the traceability management of commodities to meet consumers' needs. Fourth, we will continue to pay attention to overseas food safety issues and issue risk warnings in a timely manner. On the other hand, it is necessary to make practical moves in terms of excellent services. First, support cross-border e-commerce enterprises to pay taxes online. Second, promote the inspection before shipment of export. And to improve logistics efficiency and reduce the cost of enterprises. Third, we'll strengthen data analysis services to provide strong guidance for the high-quality development of new forms of enterprises. Fourth, we will optimize overseas warehouse declaration process. Fifth, we'll continue to improve import and export return measures to resolve the possible concerns of enterprises and consumers. Thank you. Next question. So cracking down on smuggling is a bound duty of customs. So could you brief us on how to maintain the high pressure on this so as to maintain security and fair competition? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. We will never stop fighting smuggling, just as the ocean will never go dry. Smuggling has always been the tumor of international trade, jeopardizing national security and economic order, and in some cases affecting people's life and health. After years of tough measures, the trend of smuggling has been contained and is now, on the whole, stable and controllable. But the situation remains complex. There are two things we need to pay attention to. First, smuggling organizations are becoming more organized and professional. For example, the smuggling of refined oil products, foreign garbage, and drugs has been increasingly done by professional cartels, colluding outside and within the border. They are more closely organized with more professional division of labor, bringing new challenges to customs in fighting smuggling. Second, smuggling is done in a smarter and more stealthy way. For example, on cigarettes, red wine, cosmetics, high-end consumer goods. Some use network technology for their transactions. Some pose as travelers to carry goods across border, to take a piecemeal approach to evade customs. Some took advantage of the Hainan Islands duty-free policy, and some use falsified cross-border e-commerce documents to get around customs. In response, we worked with the Public Security, Coast Guard, and other departments to launch a joint operation to crack down on smuggling of key products, targeting key channels and key areas. Over the past 5 years, China has handled 20,000 smuggling cases worth more than 500 billion yuan. The number of cases involving foreign garbage dropped from a peak of 481 to 98 last year. Ivory products seized by customs dropped from 9.2 tons at the peak to 70 kilograms last year. China Customs has won the UN's Asian Environmental Law Enforcement Award 4 times and the Clark Bevan Wildlife Law Enforcement Award twice, demonstrating to the world that China is a responsible major country. This year, we'll continue to go tough on smuggling and prioritize 3 areas. The first is to strengthen special operations against smuggling. We have launched joint special operations such as Sword and Warrior of China to go after smuggling of refined oil products, foreign garbage, guns, and narcotics. Second, we need to strengthen comprehensive oversight. We will leverage the role of customs in port supervision, inspection, and quarantine, ensure all-round and full process regulation, and create a tight, strong, and all-dimensional safety net for prevention and control. Third, we will strengthen comprehensive governance. The National Anti-Smuggling Office is set at the GACC. We will further encourage local governments to take the primary responsibility for comprehensive governance on anti-smuggling and collaborate with law enforcement such as public security and the Coast Guard to create synergy to counter smuggling. This is how we were using everything at our disposal to fight smuggling and ensure smuggling activities and smugglers will have no safe haven. Thank you.
发言人您好，我是封面新闻记者。我们注意到近年来海关聚焦通关便利化。
We noticed that there's a lot of focus on facilitation of custom clearance. What measures will be made to improve the business environment at the border ports? Well, that is a very important question. It is our job to ensure sound and facilitated business environment at the border ports. I will turn it over to Director Zhao for that question. The business environment at the border ports is directly related to the immediate interests of the many business entities and has drawn much attention from across the sectors. For quite some time, with the close cooperation of all parties, the GACC has introduced a series of innovative measures to improve the business environment and achieved good results. To sum up, we have carried out special operations to facilitate cross-border trade for 5 consecutive years, streamlined certificates needed for import and export regulation, deepened reform of customs clearance facilitation, significantly cut the overall clearance time for goods, regulated and reduced import and export charges, kept enhancing digitalization of port management. These measures have very much shortened customs clearance time, lowered the costs, and made customs clearance procedures easier. All of this progress has been reflected in this year's government work report. There is always room for improvement when it comes to business environment at the border ports. Going forward, we will continue to roll out new and effective measures, which can be summarized as following: setting up better facilities, necessary platforms, greater connectivity, stronger cooperation, and higher efficiency. First, we will improve port facilities. We're working with relevant parties to speed up capacity expansion projects at important border ports and further enhance customs clearance capacity. We will guide Hainan Province in implementing the plan of the free trade port, speed up the development of the free trade port, and provide port facilities for the scheduled closure and operation. Second, we'll build a service platform. Just now, Minister Yu mentioned the single window for international trade. We'll further leverage its role as a platform to realize export tax refund declaration and automatic capture of invoice information so as to help enterprises handle tax refund business. We'll also improve customs clearance plus logistics and provide enterprises with services such as information sharing on the whole process of customs clearance, handling of export, credit, insurance, and financing of cross-border settlement. Third, we'll promote internal and external connectivity. We're working with relevant parties to resume access to land border ports. At present, freight channels at border ports across the country have opened as much as possible, and passenger channels are being reopened in an orderly manner. We'll further promote the development of cross-border freight trains such as the China-Europe Railway Express and the new Land Sea Corridor in Western China, and support the development of multimodal transport such as sea rail combined with transport in various regions. Fourth, we'll strengthen international cooperation. In light of the World Bank's new assessment system for business environment, we are vigorously promoting international cooperation on smart customs, smart borders, and smart connectivity, coordinating the building of smart ports, and promoting the Green Channel for speedy customs clearance of agricultural products. We'll promote single-window cooperation with Belt and Road countries and facilitate the exchange and sharing of documents related to cross-border trade. Fifth, we'll improve the efficiency of customs clearance. On the basis of previous assessment, we continue to advance pilot reforms to facilitate customs clearance, such as direct cartage by ships, direct loading upon arrival at ports. In light of the customs clearance process and the time required for relevant procedures, we'll instruct the localities to keep the custom clearance time within a reasonable range and provide relatively stable expectations for enterprises on customs clearance.
谢谢主持人。中国网记者提问。我们注意到2022年针
We
对部分
noticed
口岸出口
that
业
in
积压问题，
2022, there is a backlog of goods at the border ports. There has been a 100-day campaign to address that. What are the specific measures? Have they paid off? And after that campaign, will those results achieved become a regular mechanism? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. So, the port security is a major responsibility of GACC and China Customs. We will take careful actions to prevent such risks. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Sun to take your questions.
这个统筹这个发展与安全，时刻绷紧
So, coordinate development and safety, always bear in mind workplace safety and not let go for a moment. This is instruction made by General Secretary Xi Jinping. The customs has always kept in mind the instructions, manage both business and safety. We act with a sense of responsibility and always rest assured to prevent and curb this kind of accidents. Since last year, due to the impact of the pandemic, some imported hazards have been backlogged at the port, while coupled with the high temperature, safety risks have increased. Therefore, we launched a 100-day special operation of comprehensive control of dangerous goods or hazards. We cleared more than 2,400 batches of hazards backlogged at ports due to COVID-19 and detected and found more than 1,600 cases of false and constitutional declarations and filed more than 500 cases of punishment. The overall customs clearance time has been shortened by more than 60%, ensuring the safe and stable operation of the port. We don't think the end of this operation marks that we can take a relief breeze. While the accelerated recovery of the economy, the import and export of hazards have increased significantly, and some illegal problems such as non-reporting of dangerous goods, high-risk unreporting, and underreporting dangers have not been eliminated. These pose new challenges to customs security. This year, we will have three priorities. First, continue to carry out centralized rectification. Last year's operation resolved the risk of hazards backlogged at the port. At the beginning of this year, we launched a 6-month special campaign to crack down on false and concealed import and export of hazards. We took comprehensive measures of striking, governing, and risk prevention and control. We have on-site supervision and follow-up inspection. The chain of supervision have been improved. We coordinate actions of customs across the nation and relevant departments. We build a network of port safety with relevant departments. Second, to promote normalized governance. Well, it is important that we summarize the good experience and practices in the campaign and turn them into governance measures to prevent detention from rebounding. We should keep cracking down on false and concealed reports, make it convenient for law-abiding people and make it difficult for lawbreakers. At the same time, to improve the efficiency of the regulation of haters and deepen the reform of the regulation model. Pilot projects have been carried out in 5 ports, including that in Shanghai. It will be promoted nationwide after assessment. Third, to prevent and control major security risks. Specifically, while doing a good job in the comprehensive management of haters at the port, we should focus on other key areas such as health check and quarantine, animal and plant quarantine, food safety. It should be a long-term mission. We should continue to check, sort, and eliminate safety risks and hidden dangers, adhere to the principle of prevention first, and keep the bottom line of safety and the red line of regulation. Thank you. Next question. Thank you, Phoenix TV. The GACC released data that in the first 2 months, we have a 0.8% decrease. There are also more empty containers, which draw concerns among the people over foreign trade. So what is your take on this year's?
Thank you for your question. I know people are following trade this year very closely. As you rightly said, we have released the statistics for the first 2 months. And relevant authorities have explained the statistics, and our view of foreign trade is that trade has gotten off to a steady start with a positive outlook. In terms of scale, exports in the first 2 months hit a record high, up by 0.9%, better than expected. The total trade exceeded 6 trillion yuan for only the second time in history, compared with less than 5 trillion yuan in the same period before the pandemic. In terms of the trade mix, China was among the first to reopen the economy during the epidemic. The export of anti-COVID materials and home economy products increased significantly during that period, raising the foreign trade base. Our calculation shows that if these one-off factors were excluded, trade growth in the first 2 months of this year would have exceeded 10%. If we look at the trend on a weekly basis, since February, China's foreign trade has clearly stabilized. It grew by more than 15% in the last week of February compared to the previous week. If we look at our neighbors, compared with our neighboring economies whose data has been released, China's foreign trade is doing good. But there is no denying that the trade does face quite a few difficulties and challenges. People are most concerned about weakening foreign demand. High global inflation and sluggish growth of major economies have had a direct impact on global trade. The WTO recently forecast that global trade in goods would be anemic in Q1 and is expected to grow by only 1% for the whole year. In addition, some countries attempt to decouple and cut supplies, geopolitical risks, and the Recent turbulence in the financial market in some Western countries have all impacted the global trade environment and also posed external challenges to China's trade, which is trying to stabilize and upgrade. But on the other hand, there are some calls for optimism. In the first 2 months, when it comes to the business entities, more firms entered foreign trade, with 46,000 new foreign trade entities registered with customs. And this speaks to growing confidence. In terms of orders, according to information we have, the share of firms with growing new export orders increased continuously. In terms of new growth drivers, exports of electric vehicles, lithium batteries, and solar cells as the 3 new drivers grew by 60%. As for trade in cross-border e-commerce, it rose by 15.8%. When it comes to trade diversification, China's trade with countries along the Belt and Road grew by 10.1% year-on-year, while our trade with other RCEP members was up by 3.1%. You mentioned the issue of empty containers. Well, we are following this very closely. This is caused by many factors, such as excessive prior placement of new containers, low storage costs in China, the return of many empty containers after the COVID situation eased abroad, as well as seasonal reasons. The fact that many empty containers are on standby in Chinese ports also reflects to a certain extent that the international community, the international market, is still optimistic about China's export capacity in the coming period. According to our latest statistics, since late February, the number of containers used for export has been on the rise. All in all, the trade situation remains complex and serious. But opportunities also abound. The difficulties are mostly global. By comparison, China still has a clear competitive advantage. With the Chinese economy improving, the momentum of stable trade in the first 2 months is expected to continue. So we are fully confident about achieving the goal of promoting stability and improving quality in trade this year. Well, we noticed that a lot of young people are obsessed with exotic pets. We noted that the number 1 central document also raised this issue. So my question is how to prevent alien species from invading into China through these exotic pets. Thank you for your question. The exotic pets are a threat to safety and security in China. We take this very seriously, and we have taken a slew of measures to address that. And I'll give the floor to Director General Zhao to take this question. Thank you for taking an interest in this issue. Exotic pets are a new and a buzzword. They are different from the traditional companion animals such as dogs and cats. And they are special because some of the exotic pets can be quite strange and scary, such as snakes, lizards, and horned frogs. They are either strange-looking or very colorful. They are very different from the traditional pets. You also mentioned the #1 central document, which raised the issue of exotic pets for the first time. Well, this also shows that these are not ordinary pets, but a potential risk. Well, first, it is a threat to biodiversity because most of the exotic pets are alien species. Once they escape or are abandoned into the nature, it is easy for them to multiply and spread rapidly without the threat of natural enemies, thus threatening the local ecosystem. Second, it threatens the safety of agriculture, forestry, animal husbandry, and fishery. Some exotic pets, as alien species, will prey on local species and pose a huge threat to local species, even cause a sharp decline in the population of native species. Third, it threatens the health and safety of the people. Some exotic pets, such as fire, salamanders, and savage harvesters, are very aggressive. Some of the pets are very poisonous, such as the giant centipedes and poison dart frogs. And some of the pets may also carry a variety of bacteria and threaten people's life and safety. Since there is instruction from the central government and there are concerns from the society, then it is our job to act. We will take a number of measures to strictly prevent invasion by such hazardous species. First, we have strengthened inspection at ports using X-ray machines, CT scans, and other technical means to prevent exotic pets from entering the country by mail. And every day, we monitor more than 400,000 pieces of mail sent from overseas. Second, we'll carry out special campaigns, including the National Green Shield campaign and the comprehensive control of cross-border e-commerce delivery of exotic pets, and resolutely crack down on criminal gangs that illegally bring in exotic pets. Third, we'll strengthen joint prevention and control and interdepartmental cooperation and create synergy in law enforcement. We'll strengthen external control at the source and hold competent regulators overseas accountable. Fourth, we'll encourage the participation of the whole society, since no one will sell those pets when there is no buyer. The GACC has adopted an online-offline approach to continuously increase awareness among delivery firms and inbound passengers, and do everything possible to strengthen public awareness of biosafety. In 2022, Customs intercepted 991 exotic species 2,012 times, including 4 centimeter long ants, 10 centimeters long beetles, and over 30 centimeter long centipedes. I have brought some pictures to show you what these exotic pets look like. Well, this is the 30-meter long centipede. All of these exotic pets were safely disposed of in accordance with laws and regulations. Going forward, the GACC will implement the requirements of the #1 central document, ensure strict port inspection, crack down on illegal activities, and stand firm as the gate to our country. We'll keep communicating and promoting our policies, disclosing typical cases and raising the public's awareness of biosafety protection. I also want to take this opportunity to make a call through you that everyone should take their responsibility in protecting biosafety. We hope that fans of exotic pets will not illegally purchase or abandon those pets and do not hurt the Mother Nature because of your own personal hobby. Thank you. Last two questions.
谢谢主持人。每日经济新闻记者提问。请问当前我国海关特殊监管区域的发展现状如何？
What is the current status of the special regulation zone under customs regulation? What are the main challenges and difficulties, and what progress has been made?
谢谢您的提问。
Thank you for your
特殊
question.
监管区是海关监管的一
Special
项
customs
重要
regulation
的
zone
职责。
is an important responsibility
我们开
of
放的
us.
大门越开越大，
We are opening
特殊
wider
监
to the
管区
world,
建的也是越来
and
越
we are
多。
building more
情况呢也是
special custom regulation zones.
各不相同。
They have different
海
situations.
关的监管现在压力还是
Are
比较大的。
confronting great
我想
pressure.
这个问题，请
I would like
负责这项
to
工作的
invite
孙伟宁副处
Mr.
长
Sun to
做一个解答。
answer your question.
谢谢你的提问。
Thank you for your
伴
question.
随着改革开放啊，
With reform and
这个海
opening
关
up,
特殊区域啊，
the
应运而
special
生。
custom regulation zone
这个
came
经过
into
了
being
30多年的发
after
展，
more than 30
现在
years
这个
of
海关
development.
特殊区域
It
已
has
经成为对外开放
become
重要
an
平台
important
重要的
platform
一个载体。
for China to open up.
去年啊，
Last
这个特
year,
殊区域进口总值
the import and
达到了
export value of
84万亿
special
元人民币，
regions nationwide was
占到了我们对
8.4
外贸易
trillion
总值
yuan,
的20%。
accounting for 20% of the country's
这个做的
foreign
比
trade
喻呢，就是说
import and
这
export
个我
value.
们这个特殊区域也以不到这个
Well,
5/10的国土面积，
It only
贡献了全国
covers a
1/5的
small range of the land
对外
area,
贸易
but
进出
contributed
值。
1/5 of the country's foreign trade
这个为
imports.
了适应不同时期对外贸易
export
发展的
value
需要
So in order
设立
to
共
meet
设
the
立了
needs
6个
of foreign
类型
trade
的
development
特殊
in
区
different
域
periods, China has
这里我们包
successfully
括综合
established 6
包括保
types of
税区
special areas,
综合保税
while
区
including
出口加工区
the bonded
还有
areas, export
这个
processing
跨
areas,
境
bonded
贸易
logistics
工业
areas,
园区
port areas,
还有这个保税物流园区
and logistic
还有这
areas
个保税港区一共是
and
6
port
类。
areas.
按照科学统筹
Well,
发
to
展的要求
have
我们积极
and meet the
落实
requirements of
国变的
scientific
附属
and
要求
overall development
正
of
在
the
积
State
极推
Council,
动
we
各类型
integrated
特殊区
different types of
向
special
综合保
zones
税区
into
这
comprehensive
个
bonded
这个
zones.
转型升级。目前
This is an
全国共有
upgrading.
167
At present,
个
there
特
are
殊区域，
167 special zones in the country, while including 156 comprehensive bonded zones, accounting for 93.4%, covering 31 provinces
这个在新的
of
时期
cities.
综合保税区就特殊区域的发
Well, there are
展
major
主要
3 new
呈现了以
features
上3个方面的
of
特点。
this special
一是
zone
区域规模
in the new era.
不断的扩大。
One is the
这个
continuous
去年
expansion
特殊
of
区
the regional
进口
scale.
总值
Last year, the import and
照
export value
2012年
of special
就
regions
比2012年翻了一番。
compared with that of
也从对外贸
2012.
易这个占比由2012年的这个15.7
Well, it's
提高到现在的
increased
20%。
from
再就产业结构不断优化
15.7%
保税
in
研发
2012.
保税维修
Second, the industrial
保
structure
税
has been
这个
continuously
加
optimized.
等这个行业这个持续的这个发展。
With some
这个融
emerging
资助力
sectors such as
包括
bonded
电商
research
这
and
些
development
新兴业态
are
也蓬勃发展
booming.
呈现出这个多
Well,
元化
these
的
are all
发展态势。
demonstrating a trend of diversified development.
保税维修这个
Well,
进口
the
总值
import and
进口
export
总值
value
达
of
到了
bonded maintenance in
1984
2022
同比增长了
was 198.646 billion yuan, a year-on-year increase of 32.7%.
以龙头企业为核
Third,
心
regional development is more
上下游企业
coordinated,
继续发展
with leading
有态势
enterprises
明显
as the core,
其中
while the special area drives the
四川
clustering and development of upstream and downstream
和陕西
enterprises,
特殊区域
like
这个进出口
in
总值
Sichuan, Chongqing,
占这个
Henan,
当地
Shanxi, and
外
other
贸进口
provinces
总
or
值
cities,
这个比
the
重
import and
都
export
超过了
value of these
10%，
cities
甚至
account for
60%。
more than 50% or even 60% of the local
刚才你
foreign
谈到的
trade
就是我
import
们这
and
个记者朋
export
友谈
value.
到就是特区在发展过程中还存在一
You
些
just mentioned that there are some
刚才谈到就
problems.
是我们现在存在一个发展不
We
平衡
mentioned
总的来讲
unbalanced
就是我们
development.
东部地区的
the eastern
特区
region
发展
is
要优于中西部
generally better than the central and western regions of China, and some provinces and cities have multiple special zones with uneven development. At the same time, there are also insufficient development. Some special zones have a single industry. Well, it is not diversified. We do not have sufficient industrial supporting facilities. It has insufficient competitive advantages. We will have three priorities to tackle these problems. First, to serve the domestic and international circulation, we will accelerate the introduction of high-quality reform measures in the comprehensive bounded zone and actively integrate into the large domestic unified market. Second, actively support the transformation and upgrading of special zones. We will vigorously support the Bonded Plus business innovation and development, promote the key to technology research, and serve science, technology, self-resilience, and self-improvement. Third, actively promote the construction of intelligent, comprehensive boundary zone to deepen the comprehensive reform of the comprehensive security zone as the entry point. Will innovate pre-regulation mood to help the gains of enterprises. Thank you. The last question.
谢谢主持人。广东广播电视台记者提问。
Thank you. With Guangdong TV, we noticed that the chief executives of Hong Kong and Macau met with Minister Yu last week. What has the GACC done to support the development of the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Greater Bay Area, and what will be the next steps? Thank you for your interest in this issue. Indeed, last week, I met with the chief executives of Hong Kong and Macau. Well, first with chief executive of Macau and then with the chief executive of Hong Kong. Well, the development of the Greater Bay Area is something we all care very much about. The Greater Bay Area is unprecedented in the world as it means that 2 systems, 3 customs, territories, and 3 currencies will coexist in one single country. Let me start with some statistics. Last year, the total trade of the 9 mainland cities in the Greater Bay Area, together with Hong Kong and Macau, totaled $2.5 trillion, or 5% of global trade. It is fair to say that the Greater Bay Area is one of the most open and dynamic regions in China. There is a lot the GACC must and could do to contribute to the development of the Greater Bay Area. Well, in recent years, we have been working on mainly the following 2 fronts. First, in terms of facilitating the flow of production factors, we have accelerated innovation in the customs regulation system, introduced 54 measures to vigorously support the development of major cooperation platforms in Hengqin, Qianhai, and Nansha. We have created innovative customs clearance models, such as the Combined Ports and One Hong Kong Connect, which are extended to all the 9 mainland cities in the Greater Bay Area. We have promoted the One Cross-Border Lock service at the Guangdong, Hong Kong, and Guangdong, Macau customs. It means that the cross-border trucks will use one cross-border lock when crossing the customs, so as to have speedier cross-border clearance. That is a measure for facilitating cross-border clearance, and we need to expand that pilot program. And we have also successfully implemented the policy of Macau vehicles heading north. Since the start of this year, 53,000 Macau vehicles have traveled to the north. We have established a green channel for fresh agricultural products through inspection upon arrival and release upon inspection to ensure sufficient supplies to Hong Kong and Macau. Second, in terms of maintaining trade security, the 3 customs authorities focused on strengthening risk analysis and coordination and explored and promoted integrated risk prevention and control in the Greater Bay Area. We improved the long-term coordination mechanism against smuggling, launched trilateral joint operations, including the Trident and the Clear Bay operations, and cracked down on cross-border smuggling at sea and other illegal activities between Guangdong, Hong Kong, and Macau. The development of the Greater Bay Area is hitting the accelerator button. Going forward, we will work closely with relevant parties to speed up hard connectivity of facilities and strengthen soft connectivity of cooperation. We'll make efforts in 3 areas to accelerate the development of Guangdong, Hong Kong, and Macau into a world-class Bay Area and a top-notch city cluster. First, we'll focus on platform building. The Hengqin Cooperation Zone will be strengthened on a pilot basis to implement the policy of opening up the first tier and controlling the second tier. We'll support innovation of the customs systems in Jianhua Cooperation Zone and contribute to the development of the Nansha International Shipping and Logistics Hub. Second, we'll make customs clearance easier. We'll strengthen mutual recognition of customs regulation among the 3 regions, actively expand the One Cross-Border Lock service, and help enable Hong Kong vehicles to head north. And we'll accelerate such efforts. We will deepen AEO mutual recognition and single window cooperation, promote trade data connectivity, and explore the implementation of one order, 2 declarations. We improve the quarantine clearance model and facilitate the flow of people and goods. We'll strengthen coordination and cooperation to make the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge a bridge of dream fulfillment, solidarity, confidence, and rejuvenation. Third, we'll strengthen law enforcement cooperation, we'll step up intelligence sharing, increase law enforcement coordination, strengthen cooperation in inspection and quarantine, IP protection, and anti-smuggling in the Greater Bay Area, and jointly maintain a sound development environment for the Greater Bay Area. Thank you. Thank you, Minister Sun. I thank all the speakers and all the journalists for coming. With that,
That was a press conference held by State Council Information Office on China's customs work and its major focuses for this year. Now, for more insight, let's cross live to Professor Liu Baocheng in Beijing. Now, Professor, let's start with the volume and the size of China's foreign trade. Officials say that it reached 42 trillion yuan last year, the largest in human history. Looking at this year's momentum, officials remains a positive outlook. Remind us the reasons for this positive outlook this year.
Well, over the past 3 years, China suffered a good deal in its economic performance. However, given the Chinese strong and resilient supply chain, the world has really benefited from the export drive from China because we coordinated the production with the export procedures in which Chinese customs also contribute a great deal for facilitation. So that really has seen, under very difficult time, a great achievement of the Chinese import and export performance. And this year we have added confidence to see that we're going to have a further revival of the vitality for economic growth, and hence that will also add to the impetus for the Chinese import and export businesses. However, we must also be able to see that when the global economies, particularly with the major partners like North America and Europe, they have been suffering from a different degree of recession, and also the exchange rate is fluctuating, and when they are dealing with the inflation pressure, and we are going to face quite a lot more challenges. So therefore, we have really guarded optimism that how Chinese companies can really deal with the accelerated growth for their import and export, facing such a sort of difficult situation on a global basis.
Now, interestingly, you mentioned the changing situation in some major trading partners, for example, North America and Europe, inflation or recession to different degree, as you just mentioned. Would you say this is kind of a structural challenge to China's foreign trade? How to deal with it?
Well, this is both a challenge and an opportunity for China. When the world is really restructuring their flow of commodities, goods, services, and with technology, it really serves as a strong impetus for China to develop its own domestic economy. But in the meantime, that is there to push China to upgrade its industrial structure so that we can have more added value and in order to contribute to more competitive advantage on a global basis. We do see that there has been a outflow of the industrial manufacturing businesses to the neighboring countries like Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, etc. But this also gives the China empty room to move on a higher ladder along the supply chain so that we can have a better bargaining power on the global marketplace. And now we also are observing very rigidly over the development of the regional crisis like the Ukraine crisis, how that's going to disturb the global supply chain, particularly when China is heavily reliant on the import of raw materials and energy, and also on the export of all commodities. So those C roads and also the adequate supply of materials from both ends will also be an uncertainty that is there to challenge the Chinese smooth development of its import and export drive.
Now, still on trade, but let's focus on one particular region, the Greater Bay Area in South China. 9 cities on the mainland plus Hong Kong and Macau. Officials say that last year, foreign trade from that region reached $2.5 trillion, accounting 5% of the global trade volume. What's the core competitiveness of this particular region?
Well, I think most importantly, they benefited from the Chinese central government decisive measure to integrate its economy with the rest of the neighbors, and particularly now when the regional economic comprehensive partnership is in force, and we can see that there has been quite a surge for the trade between the China and 14 other countries surrounding China, and the Greater Bay Area is really the hub that is there to support and also benefit from this entire integration process. And plus that when the integration on the customs, the clearance, and on the protection of the border, and also on more of the facilitation in the exchange on foreign currencies, and so this can really help a great deal. And I think the another very important contributor is really the infrastructure development. We can see that the roads, highways, and the sea navigation forces are really there to further accelerate it on its quality, on its speed. And so this can really help a great deal. And in addition, the institutional reform by supporting more of the free trade zones in those areas can also help a great deal.
Now, officials are also very optimistic about the future of China's cross-border e-commerce. Now, explain to our global audience what's the opportunities here for global businesses.
Well, traditionally we rely more on the imports and exports on big items through the conventional way of dealing with the rest of the world, with big ships, with airplanes. Now, the e-commerce is now a booming industry where smaller businesses can benefit a great deal, and they can be very agile to new opportunities and very flexible. But that also add challenge to the customs clearance, so that the way for civilians and tax collection and also in supporting measures will also have to be upgraded to support such type of operation. So this will be the name of the game, with the advancement of information technology, and also with more of the booming small and medium-sized businesses. So therefore, the government regulation, and particularly the customers, will also have to step up with this. I think, in that regard, the Chinese customs authorities have done a great job in dealing with the new developments.
Thank you very much, Professor Liu Baocheng in Beijing.